Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I am Jordan. Got a little bit of the remainder from the Rye Infinity bottle here. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the last video and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So I want to hit on something that was brought to my attention by my father. And that is that at no point in this video series have I ever talked about why I'm doing this or what my credentials are for talking about whiskey or doing anything. Well, have no fear. Let me tell you, I don't have any credentials for being a sommelier or telling you what's what about whiskey. What I have going for me is I have a background in alcohol production and whiskey making. I took some courses from the university, Distillers University course. You can look them up. It's kind of expensive. They more or less run through the legal side of things, starting a distillery, which is what I'm hoping to do someday. Actually have equipment halfway purchased, kind of in a rabbit's nest with that one, because got the equipment purchased, got no place to put it, don't have a building. Don't do it that way. Always have a building first, then get the equipment ordered and whatever else. But the equipment was equipment I was familiar with because when I lived in Spokane, Washington, and I was going to the Distilling University course, we did part of the hands-on stuff at a distillery called Tin Bender, which unfortunately is no longer in existence, in Spokane. I found out where we were going to do our hands-on stuff. Went and talked to the guy, super cool. So Paul, thank you. So I ended up working with him, volunteering my time for, a month or 2 months with him, kind of outside of the class, just to get the experience, just to learn some stuff. So I got to help bottle and distill and kind of run through the process a couple of times and just kind of get a feel for the business and the paperwork and everything that goes along with it, which really got me amped up to want to start distilling. So from there, this is my second time that I'm going to start a distillery. Unfortunate thing is it costs a pretty penny. I got a pretty good deal on this equipment, but unfortunately right now I'm trying to resell the equipment just because I got nowhere to put it and I don't have the capital to be able to restart the distillery. So that was a big, screw up on my part. So hopefully I can resell this equipment, but everybody knows the current economy, 40 million people unemployed, chaos in the Northwest, things just going awry. So, just like everybody else, 2020 hasn't exactly been the greatest to me, but not the worst either. So, and if push comes to shove, maybe rent in town will drop to a point where I can actually afford it and I'll be able to start a distillery. Who knows? Maybe some good come out of this yet. Everything's up in the air. If I can just find somebody with a little bit deeper pockets than mine, could also pull it off as well. But right now, things are just kind of staying still. And so I worked with Paul, kind of got my hands on stuff. And then, I just started learning and researching, right? So I started watching YouTube videos and other people who were doing whiskey reviews. I started reading books. I got, 8 books upstairs. They're all yay thick about whiskey and different varieties and histories of brands and artwork related to brands and how to make different whiskeys or different alcohols in general. So I started doing my research and online forums and reading and learning and talking to stuff. Then I happened to get lucky, move to my current city, and the guy that lived next door to me happened to be an insurance salesman for distilleries, breweries, and other alcohol production facilities. And he also happens to be like the #1 guy in that field in America and has been the keynote speaker at the American ADA? What is it? Oh, crap. I should know this, but I can't think of it right now. But it's the American Distillers Association, American something like that. I think it's the ADA. Anyways, they were supposed to be having their big conference in April of this year down in New Orleans, and that ended up getting canceled due to COVID and whatever else. But he was supposed to be the keynote speaker there, and he's been the keynote speaker before, I think a couple of years ago when I was down in Denver. Anyways, he kind of knows his way around things, so I've bounced a lot of information off of him and kind of whispered in his ear and talked to him and got some of his feedback on stuff. Plus, being a member of the Whiskey Tribe, who I always promote, so check them out in the description below. Whiskey Tribe, good group of people. Someday hope to get down to Austin, Texas and see Daniel and Rex, talk with them a bit. Stillit, Jesse over in New Zealand, he's awesome to talk with and watch his videos. Doing that. And then Barleyandhops, George, another great guy. I watch those videos. I kind of learn from them. So there's nothing saying you can't learn this either. Then the other end of it is having a good whiskey collection to sit there and be able to start to pick out the nuances and the different categories and the flavors and the nosing and, just training yourself really to pick stuff out. To top it all off, I tend to have a really good palate when it comes to flavor profiles, and in my mind something just kind of triggers. So like when I cook, I'm not a recipe guy. It's a dash of this, a dose of that, whatever, and stuff tends to work out for me, and I just kind of have a good idea of how flavors blend together in my mind before I do it. Yes, I'm tooting my own horn, toot toot. So there's that. That lends itself to what I'm doing, and so kind of combined together. Yes, you got yourself a jackass that just sits here, drinks whiskey, and tells you what he thinks. Right, wrong, or indifferent. You're welcome to do the same. But as far as my history, background, and credentials of whiskey, that's what I got for you. I'm 30-something, 35, 36. So I got, 15 years of drinking whiskey under my belt and have explored quite a bit in that time frame. In many different countries, actually, around the world. So, am I at the top of the top? No. Am I at the bottom? No. Am I just a jackass giving you my opinion? Yes. But hopefully you enjoy it. So, with that, that's my background and my credentials, and hopefully gives you a little bit of insight to where I came from and hopefully where I'm heading, which hopefully is a distillery. That's part of this channel. If this ever gets big enough that I can actually capitalize on making some money on it, that'd be awesome, and I would use that to help start the distillery. But with the way things are going right now, I'm really not going to put my hopes into that basket. I'm just, if it happens, great, and if it doesn't, just as awesome. So, as always, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Hopefully you found a little bit of entertainment in that. Put in the comments below what your background is with whiskey. Maybe you just like to drink. That's fine too. You don't have to nerd out quite like I do on all this stuff. The nuance, I never really know where to go when I'm sitting here talking by myself. If I had a person here, we could bounce ideas off each other and whatnot. And I could dive into the history on every bottle of who the distillery is and what the brand history is and the nuances of the brand and all that stuff. And there's so many other channels that are doing that. And especially in the last 6 months since this whole COVID thing hit, look at what's out there. 20 channels have started in the last 6 months of guys just sitting around drinking, telling you what they think. So again, maybe fate kicked me in the balls a little bit on that one where I just happen to be starting at the same time everybody else is. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to catch a break, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, like and subscribe if you find this useful. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell if you want to get notified when new videos drop. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this some bit. Enjoying this a little bit. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Have yourselves a great day.